Hi everyone, I just wanted to do this video sort of talking about, sort of warmer climates, and I think how it's good to sort of have ambitions like this, because I think there must be a reason why like the traditional holiday place is a hot place. You wouldn't say, a really cold place I want to go on holiday. And generally speaking, it's the hotter places that we strive for, and I feel that this is important to remember. And for me personally, there certainly are the reasons why I'm kind of striving to, I want to get more money. I want to kind of save up to travel to these hot exotic places, and I feel like I belong in these places. Like I said, I'm half Indian. I have my dad's Indian, my mum's English, so I'm a mixed race. I'm half Indian, and it's probably one of the reasons why I've got lots of melanin in my hair and I haven't got such a dark pigment, and I'm happy about that. I feel like it's good having this mixed heritage, and it's good having that in your family and knowing where you stand, I feel. And for me personally, like I said, I think it's good to realise your ancestry, and I think it's good to really understand where you come from in that respect. I feel like places, like I said, in terms of the hot places and stuff, obviously India's very hot and everything, and I feel like in a way perhaps that's the key thing. It's not just about these certain areas that have hotter climates, it's about I think it's about heritage. I feel like you've got to be grateful, I feel like, because a lot of people, even now in what's happening in Ukraine, a lot of refugees I only saw in the news recently are coming over from Ukraine and stuff, and they're actually trying to find places. Even in Swindon, they're trying to find a host. And like I said, I mentioned it before, I think I was that girl who did like a 600-mile walk or something all the way up to Scotland or something, and she was just residing in Swindon as like a host. She found a host or something she was from Ukraine. And I feel it's good. I feel it's good to have perspective in that respect. Have perspective in that. That's a bit of a tongue twister. Have perspective in that respect. But I think it's good. It's good to do that. I think you've got to not forget your ancestry. That's what makes you unique. I feel like if you are mixed race or are mixed heritage, if you've got a black parent, a white parent, or whatever, like I sort of have, then I think you've got to acknowledge that. And I think it's good. And I'm happy that I'm half Indian. Even though I don't particularly practice it, because my family, they're sort of Sikh, Punjabi, but I don't practice. My dad doesn't really practice or anything, but I have that, and in my family, and even on my mum's side, that her mum was a Christian, I think, but I think it's good. I think it's good to acknowledge that, to respect that, and sort of abide by what that means. And I feel like that's very great. You've got to be grateful. Like I said, they came over sort of in this country, sort of from India in the 60s or whatever it was, and to look for a better life. And like I said, I might not have even been born if certain things hadn't gone my way and stuff, or gone my grandparents' way. So I've got to be very lucky to not forget what makes you unique and what makes you important. And I think you've got to be so grateful for that. I think everyone has, because I think at the end of the day, if you go back far enough from anyone's line of ancestry, most people are sort of mixed. I don't think many. I mean, are they? I don't know, but I think it's good to know where you abide by that. I think it's really good and really a key thing. I'm very proud to be half Indian, although, like I said, unlike most Indians who have a darker pigment, I've actually got quite. I don't look that. My pigment is quite a light. I don't have a very dark skin. I've got very dark hair though, because I've got lots of melanin in my hair. Like most Indians who have darker skin, I've got a very light skin tone, but I've got very dark hair because all the melanin in my hair at the moment. And I think that makes me look probably more Spanish or more Italian or more Greek or more sort of Brazilian or whatever you want to call it, which is fine. I don't mind that at all. I don't mind the comparison. People have said I look a bit like Bruno Mars, although I think he's got curly hair and he's got slightly darker skin tone than me, but whatever. He hasn't got curly hair, but it's slightly more curly hair than me, I think. I don't know really. I think he has. I think he used to straighten it or something, but now if you look at him, he has got like afro sort of hair, and I don't know. You've got to acknowledge where you come from, and I do, and I'm happy with my heritage. And like I said, people have got to be so grateful for the position that they're in as well. I kind of want to relate this to being grateful and being positive. Because a lot of the times when you've read about, oh God, this is not happening, and worry about a trivial thing, oh God, a lot of the times you've got to look back in your own ancestry and realise how hard it was for times gone by for my grandparents coming over here. How hard it would have been for them, especially on my Indian side, how hard it would have been for them to try and find a better life, and here I'm complaining, oh God, whatever, something incredibly trivial probably that I have done in the past, I've actually done recently, and it's just really very, very pointless, and it's almost embarrassing. So I think in certain times when you've got to be respectful of health as well, which is why I've gone vegan. I've been vegan and I haven't looked back. My asthma's almost gone. So I'm respectful of that as well. So I think people have got to be, acknowledge where they come from and be grateful for it. Be grateful for it. Be grateful for life, because the little things, they can go at a moment's notice. And you've got to be so grateful, living while you're young, being healthy when you're young, looking the best way you want to look. Because a lot of things people take for granted. They say this over and over again, but it's true. People don't really sometimes fully appreciate what they've got until they haven't got it anymore. People don't appreciate what they've got until they're put into a situation where they could never have it again, and they really think, oh my god, so that's what it's like to have this. Oh my god. Sometimes I feel like I wish I could go to a third world country. I wish I could go back to India and see how they're living there in some of the slums, like in Slumdog Millionaire, and you really feel like, wow, is this how they're living? Or going to parts of Africa where they're living in poverty. Wow, is this how they're living? Or even going to a place like Ukraine now and seeing all the refugees and seeing how people are living there under war-torn countries. Wow, or even go back to World War One, World War Two. Like I said, sometimes it's hard to relate to things you don't understand. Sometimes it's hard to relate to what's happening in times gone by, or times where it seems so distant from where you are now. Like I said, here in Swindon, the idea of what's happening in Ukraine, it seems so distant, because where I'm living now has about 20 odd supermarkets. It's a big, massive hub, and it's got a lot to offer. I don't think of like places in Ukraine, places in Africa, places in India which don't have that, which are very impoverished areas. You don't think. That's why a lot of people come into this country. There's even a Muslim family sort of living near me, whatever. A lot of people come over to this country for a better life. Like I said, even those refugees from Ukraine, they've travelled through, this girl travelled through like 4 countries, Belgium and everything, Belgium and France, just to get to Swindon to find a host. And then she went off like a 600-mile walk to Scotland. So here is a big hub. Even somewhere like Swindon, I'm not comparing Swindon to New York or anything, but it can't be overlooked. This is a very big hub. You can't overlook it. It's a very big hub. Almost 250,000 people live here. And it's a huge hub. I was born here 26 years ago. I've got a huge affiliation with this town. So it's not even just about Swindon. I'm not really trying to relate it just to Swindon. It's just an analogy or analogy. I don't know how you pronounce it. I always mess this up how you pronounce analogy or analogy. But it's the analogy of, the principle of what I'm talking about. Sort of thing, but I don't know what I'm talking about now. What was I saying? Yeah, it's the principle of it. It's the principle of being grateful for wherever you live. And even if it's not Swindon, if it's somewhere like Coventry or somewhere like Leicester or somewhere like Birmingham or somewhere which is akin to Swindon in terms of how big it is and what it's got to offer, I think it shouldn't be overlooked how lucky people have got it. And I think people don't appreciate it enough. They don't appreciate it enough, and they should do. You should appreciate what you've got more than what you haven't, because a lot of times what you're worrying about is incredibly trivial, and a lot of times, I've had hypochondria in the past. Don't get hypochondria and worry about and fret about something. Be grateful. Be grateful for life. Be grateful for health. Be grateful that you're young, you're moving, you're fit. And a lot of the times when you're worrying, it's about something trivial. I bet you it is. And I bet you if you put yourself into the perspective of someone who really is in trouble, who's really unhealthy, who's really in a bad situation, you'll realise that you've got it pretty good. Stop wasting time crying like a baby and get on with life, get stuck in and get moving on. Stop fucking, mucking about. Just get on with life and get a job, my mum and parents would say.